Hi again. This is Zion Benumi. In case this is your first time of joining me, I'm talking divorce, and please, just so that you don't misunderstand me, and just so that you be able to follow me up till now, so that you'll be able to understand what I'm talking about now. I have said a lot in the other parts of the series that I'm making on this divorce. So please look up these scriptures and look up this series, okay, these videos before coming to this part. I think this should be like the fifth part of the fifth part of this video I'm making on this series. Okay, so today I want to talk about, or now talk about, what God has joined together, let no man put asunder. We are very familiar with this verse, so there's no, I don't want to waste time talking about what led to this and what did not lead to this. You could just look it up. The scripture is on your screen right now. Okay, so what God has joined together, let no man put asunder. So at first, when you're looking at this, it gives you the impression as if under no circumstance should anybody divorce, right? Because it says what God has joined together, let no man put asunder. So, but first of all, let me start in the last part of this statement that says, let no man put asunder. So first of all, for somebody to say don't break something, it definitely means that that thing is breakable. Okay, because I'm saying this because a lot of people have this idea, have this notion that that marriage needs soul ties, and it creates some kind of bond in the spiritual realm that can never be broken, whether you divorce or not. It's only death that can break such a bond and such a covenant and such an everything. Okay, so they spiritualize this marriage thing so much so that as if to mean that it can never be understandable. Okay, so it is not so. If someone says, if I say I should join this and this together, then, and I tell you not to separate it, obviously it's because I know that you can separate it. It is separable. That is the reason why I am saying not to separate it. So it will be illogical for Jesus to say don't put asunder something that cannot be put asunder. Okay, so it can be put asunder. So they are just talking about that particular statement. Now, for something I want to point out with this scripture also is that it seems to be as if many times what we have been doing all this while is we have been focusing on this same part of the sentence, this same part of the sentence that says let no man put asunder. So for once, the spirit of God kind of blank that part for me, and then open my eyes to the other part of the statement that says what God has joined together. So here's the thing: what God has joined together, let no man put asunder, meaning that what God has not joined together, let man put asunder, or at least it is okay if man should put asunder what God did not join together. So the question is, are we sure we have been doing this marriage thing right even in the first place? Are you sure we have been joining? Are you sure what we call today to be marriage is actually God joined? Did God actually join it, or we human beings are the ones that joined ourselves? Our pastors joined us, priests joined us. Okay, so this joining, what is it about? So that's what I'm going to talk about now. So I'm going to tell you that it's not every marriage that God joined together, and I'm going to tell you the marriage that God joined together and the one God did not join together. Okay, so God joined two believers together, not just two believers, two spirit-led believers, people that are baptized in the Holy Spirit, people that hear the voice of God, people that are led by the Spirit of God. Those two people together, those are the people that God joined together. You see, any other thing aside this, God did not join. I'm going to be proving that to you. First of all, remember in the Garden of Eden. Okay, in that same scripture where this statement, what God had joined together, let no man put asunder, where it occurred, Jesus said to the Pharisees, he said, it was not so in the beginning. So he referred us to how it was in the beginning, as to where we should take our dressing from. Okay, we should look to the beginning, that is Adam and Eve, how God made it in the first instance. Okay, so how did God make it in the beginning? In the beginning there was Adam and Eve. Remember that in the beginning, when there was Adam and Eve, there was no sin. The earth was still perfect, and most importantly, they were led by God. They were obedient to God. They could hear the voice of God. right? They could speak to God, God could speak to them. Okay, so first of all, you know that at that time they were spirit led. Definitely God was leading them, God was talking to them. So marriage in the first instance is not meant for, the truth is, okay, I'm not condemning anybody, I'm not condemning unbelievers or anything, but but the truth is that marriage originally was not designed for people that are not spirit led. It's not designed for it is designed for only believers, not just believers but spirit led believers, because that was how it was in the beginning. So this is why marriage cannot just be perfect when it is not, when it does not have this thing. Okay, when this thing is missing, being led by the spirit. Remember how Abraham and Sarah had misunderstanding. Sarah said to Abraham, send away the bondwoman, and that's Hagar and Ishmael, and Abraham did not want to. At the end of the day, they could not come to an agreement. What happened? God came into the picture, told Abraham, listen to your wife, and then there was peace. The point is that there had to be two people that listened, that was led by the Spirit of God. The Spirit of God led Sarah to make that. If you read that scripture, you see how it is that the Spirit of God led Sarah to say all of that, and then he confirmed it to Abraham. Okay, so you see that this marriage will need to work only by people that can hear from God, and people that want to that do the will of God. People that, because if Abraham was led by God and he said, okay, send Hagar away and Ishmael, but he didn't listen. Okay, so of course the things will still not work out. So but he listened. So it is hearing from God and talking to God and doing the will of God. Okay, that is what marriage was actually supposed to be like. Okay, now I said, are you sure that this is what God has joined together? Okay, so many marriages today, God has not joined together, and people are miserable, people are frustrated, society is frustrating them, and this is why I'm bringing this, okay, out there so that people can be liberated. I'm not saying that everybody should go about divorcing, but see if this suits your situation. If you are led by the Spirit, and the Spirit is leading you to go by this, you go by this. If the Spirit tells you to hold on, because anything can happen actually. Okay, God can decide to tell you to hold on, and maybe because he wants to do something, the man is going, maybe he wants to save the man. Remember that Paul said you don't know whether you can save your husband or you'll be able to save your wife. Okay, you don't know, but God knows. So if you're led by God and you happen to be with an unbeliever or a hard-hearted person, then you know that, then if you go by the Spirit of God, this is like the general rule. Okay, then except the Spirit of God tells you not to, even though all the situation may fit for you, may be fitting for you, but if the Spirit tells you not to, then you should not. So I'm talking about, so this is general rule. If you fall under any of this category, you are to, for your peace, for the sake of peace, and for the sake of your sanity, for for you, just it is best that you divorce your spouse if you fall under any of these categories. Okay, that I've been talking about. People, these conditions that the Bible said to divorce. Okay, so I'm saying that this is general rule, because remember that the general rule with Abraham at that time was, the general rule was that you are not supposed to kill anybody, right? But God asked him to go and sacrifice his son. Okay, so that is like the exceptional out of the general. So but this general rule, okay, the rules for divorce. Okay, so what God has joined together, let no man put asunder. So now first of all, I want to take you to I want us to study a particular word. Then I'm going to give it to you the way the Spirit of God gave it to me. Okay, so what God has joined together, you see that word joined together, it is the Greek word as suzyugnumi. Okay, pardon me if you are Greek, okay, or if you understand Greek, but the word there, the original word, because the Bible was not written in English language. I've said that one of my videos, or many of videos, it's not originally written in English language. It was translated to English, and that's why I have so many translations today. Okay, so suzyugnumi, that is the word there that translates to joined together. What God has joined together, let no man. So literally, that word means yoked. Okay, yoked. Okay, so first of all, I know that we are familiar with this verse that says do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. Okay, so first of all, I know that a lot of people know that scripture, but they don't really understand what yoke is. Okay, so let me quickly explain what yoke is. So yoke is like pairing, but not just pairing. It's like to in the Old Testament, in or let me say in the law, okay, or in the Old Testament, when they want to farm or do any of their farming activities, they put two animals together because there were no tractors then, right? So they'll put two animals together. I don't know if there could be more than two, but they're going to put two animals together, probably maybe ox or donkey, and then they'll make them to drag the implements, the farm implements, as like tractor would ordinarily do, right? Drag the instrument to make ridges or to plow the ground or something like that. Okay, so they will yoke those two animals together, meaning that they're going to kind of use wood or something to hook the neck or hook the necks of the animals in pairs together so that they can move together and plow together. Okay, so that is what yoke is. So that is the original meaning of word yoke. Now this word suzugnomi that was used here, it means yoked figuratively. So it is used figuratively, and it means yoked. Now it says what God has. So if I'm going to put it directly, it's going to say what God has yoked together. Now even deeper than yoked together, it is equally yoked, specifically equally yoked together. Because you see, this word is different from the one that was used when it says do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. It's totally different. Okay, the word that says do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers, the word is heterodzugeo. Okay, forgive me again, that's a Greek word. Heterozugeo. Okay, so this word, that is the word that is used to mean unequally yoked. That means unequally yoked now means you yoking an oxen, for instance, yoking an oxen and a donkey together. Remember that in the law, the law says not to yoke on two unclean, or let me put it like this: don't yoke a clean and unclean animal together. Okay, so that is in the law. You don't yoke a clean and unclean animals. The law defined clean animals, it defined unclean animals, and then it says you should not yoke clean and unclean animals. If I'm very correct, one ox and donkey, one is unclean, the other is unclean, so you don't yoke the two to plow your field or whatever. So that is how you get to understand what yoke is. So when they say do not so when Jesus said what God has joined together, let no man put asunder, he literally, it is saying what God has equally yoked together, let no man put asunder. So you see that the choice of word for that particular sentence is very specific. Okay, so if you are equally yoked, like I said, equally yoked today is a spirit filled believer and another spirit filled believer together. Yes, there can be misunderstandings, but you should not divorce in that kind of situation, because the misunderstandings happen. That's normal. Those are normal things. This is not talking about the people with hard hearts. Like I said in my previous videos, people with hard heart are people that do not have the spirit of God, that do not have the spirit of God to lead them, or to change them. Okay, to change them from inside out, not just to modify behavior, but to change them from inside out. Okay, change the entire character and their being. Okay, so when it says that you should not be unequally yoked with unbelievers, now obviously, sorry, what God, when he said when Jesus said what God has joined together, it means what God has equally yoked together, let no man put asunder. I mean, if I'm going to turn it around, it's going to be saying what God has unequally yoked together, man, please put asunder, because it will not work. Even right from the Old Testament, it has always been that unclean and clean animals should not be put together, not to talk of human beings. Okay, and in fact, I think when this scripture said unequally yoked, you should not be unequally yoked together with unbelievers, I think in the context of what it was written, I don't think that particular scripture, if I remember correctly, that particular scripture is not really talking about marriage at that time. I think it was really talking about maybe being equally yoked socially with people. But remember that if you cannot even socially be with someone, then how should you even get a closer relationship as like marriage with that person? So yes, it is applicable, and I don't have time. I can go on and on about that. So what I'm saying here in essence is this: what we say when Bible says what God has joined together, let no man put asunder, he's talking about equally yoked people. He's not talking about believe, because you see, it is obvious that in every divorce or in every marriage that one, or at least one person is miserable, there's going to be somebody with a hard heart. I explained what a hard heart is in my previous video, so please look it up. Okay, so it's going to be somebody with a hard heart. Okay, because Jesus, in that same scripture where this what God has joined together, or Jesus said that Moses permitted you to divorce your wives because of the hardness of your heart. Okay, so you see how it is that and you see how it is that um it is actually permitted. Divorce was permitted. It wasn't the goal, it wasn't the intention or the vision with marriage. Okay, but it is allowed when at least one of the parties has a hard heart, because you cannot be unequally yoked with an unbeliever and things will, and there will be a chance that things will work out. What are chances that things will work out? Okay, so but if you don't have any issue with this unequally yoked partner of yours, because he's allowing you practice and express your faith and freely and all of that, then my previous video, just the one I made before this one, then that will be your own situation. Okay, then you don't have to divorce on that ground. Okay, so but that is what we have. So yes, you can actually divorce your spouse. Is this scripture is not a general rule to say that no divorce should occur. That's the point I'm trying to make. Okay, so I'm still going to talk next. I'm going to talk about the scripture that says God hates divorce. It's a very popular scripture, so watch out for that scripture as well for the understanding.